Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy being here. And thank you from all of you. I'm proud we another family from HARC, from KATIF, from Islamic Center, special Haji Bashir, Jane, double Jane, Patricia, Simon, Pam, different person I know about Elizabeth, Dr. Ted, and other person. But I want to talk about situation my family. 1 year ago came in United States, but I am so sorry because I can't, especially English for here, but I want to talk Persian and Mr. Bashir translate in English for you. ما 1 سال با 2 فرزند و همسرم از راه برازیل به آمریکا آمدیم. خب طبعا در این مسیر سختی و مشکلات و دشواری بیشتر بود، اما تصویری را که ما از آمریکا داشتیم این بود که میگفتن یک جامعه سخت است، شما ممکن با مشکلات بیشتر مواجه شوین و اون چیزی که در رسانه ها از آمریکا و مردم در آمریکا ببینین اون چیز برعکس است. اما از نخستین روزی که افتخاری آمدن در واشنگتن کانتی و هیگرستان داشتیم که از آقای بشیر شروع تا همه دوستایی که اینجا کار میکردن و افتخار حضور و بودنشان داشتن، ما جز مهربانی، محبت، شفقت، حمایت و داشتن یک رابطه خانوادگی تا اکنون هیچ چیزی ندیدیم و نداشتیم.
So I'm going to put on my translator hat on, so I'll do my best to remember that. He said, as we traveled through many countries, starting from Brazil, and for those of you, if you're wondering why Brazil, because Brazil extended this humanitarian visa to all Afghans that were impacted by this, and so they opened their doors, and a lot of Afghans took that opportunity. When they landed in Brazil, I'll continue now from his translation that he said, as we decided if we should go to US or not, many people told us don't. It's a very hard place to get into. It's also a place where you will find it very difficult to settle and get paperwork. People will not welcome you, and the environment is always politically toxic against immigrants and all that. But he says, from the day when we entered here, we found the opposite. We found people who have been very kind-hearted, who welcomed us from including the center that we came to and the different organizations, the people that we have met. We found nothing but kindness. People that welcomed us, not just us, but our families or children, and really made us feel home, specifically in Washington County and in Hagerstown.
و ما با جمعی از دوستایی که اینجا هستیم، مخصوصا مهاجرینی که از افغانستان آمدن، ما تعهد کردیم آنچه در هیگرستان دیدیم یاد گرفتیم و ما بتوانیم همکاران خوب هم در آینده باشیم و این اطمینان برای همه دوستا، چه اعضای محترمی که در هارک هستند، چه دوستانی که در اسلامیک سنتر مدیریت اون نهاد کلان دینی و اسلامی رئیس بشیر دارن و چه خانواده‌های محترم و خواهران و برادرای که اینجا هستن، این اطمینان میدیم که از هر فرصتی که اینجا برای ما مساعد شده و تمام امکانات و خدمات و سرویس هایی که صورت گرفته ما بتوانیم استفاده خوب هم امروز داشته باشیم و هم برای آینده. و نکته دیگر است که شما در هیچ جای دنیا به لحاظ زندگی احساس امن در مهاجرت نمیکنین، اما وقتی که بر آمریکا سفر میکنین بعد از گذشت چند سال احساس میکنین که مالک اصلی کشور هستین. این نتیجه برخورد آدم هاش است، نتیجه برخورد حکومتش است و نتیجه برخورد خانواده ها و آدم های در سطح شماست که تانستین یک فضای بسیار خوبی انسانی و معقول و برادری و خواهری را ایجاد کرده.
He said that there's something about being a refugee that stays to your mental state, and that has to do with feeling of strangeness, that you will never belong to a place that you settle settle down into because you always feel like you're a refugee. But he says his experience is showing him something different. That here, the people he has met and how he's settling down, that from other people's experience, he has concluded that no, this place, this country, and then this county and this city is actually a place where it will eventually become permanent home. And having experienced what they have experienced so far, he said he's also made connections with some other families, other refugee families, because they have been able to interact. And together, as they're sharing their experiences, mutual experiences, he said they have come to the conclusion that this community has given us so much that now they have made, in turn, a commitment among themselves that once we are able to give back, we're definitely going to be just like these people, giving back to the community. And he said, on behalf of those families here, this is one of the commitments he's here to convey, that we will give back to the community and we will always appreciate all that has been given to them and done for them.
و دو تا نکته دیگر رو من میخوام بسیار واضح بگم. گرچه ما صحبت‌های بسیار طولانی با دوستای بسیار عزیزمون در این مدت داشتیم به صورت جداگانه، از آقای بشیر تا خانم کتی شروع تا پاتریشیا، سایمون و دبل جین و دکتر تیت، الیزابت و بیل، همچنین دکتر پم تا همه دوستای دیگر. یعنی اینها میدانند که ما چرا آمریکا را انتخاب کردیم، با چی روحیه و نیت اینجا آمدیم و قرار است ما چی کاری را انجام بدیم و فردا در کجا قرار بگیریم. برای جمع دیگری واضح میگیم که انتخاب آمریکا برای مقصد اصلی ما یک انتخاب ساده ای نبوده. بعد از سالها تدریس، تحقیق و بودن در حوزه اکادمیک سرانجام به این نتیجه رسیدیم که ما از همه جهان آمریکا را انتخاب کنیم، چون اون فرصت هایی که ما به عنوان یک انسانی مدرن و آزاد امروزی تقاضاش داشتیم و انتظارش داشتیم، ما میتونیم در آمریکا به دست بیاریم. و نکته دوم و پایانی، ما وقتی که به محض اینکه هر مشکلی پیش می آید با یک از ادارات هیگرستان یا واشنگتن کانتی مراجعه میکنیم، با امید میریم، با لبخند برمیگردیم. این میتونه قوت امید ما را بیشتر بسازه و ما را برای یک آینده خوبتر مطمئنتر بسازه. در پایان باز هم تشکر. السلام علیکم و رحمت الله.
He continues to say that as they are settling down here and working together with the allies as well as the other refugee families, he wanted to express a very important point, and that is the fact that he said they come from different professional backgrounds. Each one have worked decades in different fields, who have been trained and educated in different fields. Some having PhDs in education, in media and other organizations. And so he said, settling in this land for them, it means something special because there is so much opportunity at hand. And so they're really looking forward to using the experiences and the education that they have, combining that with the opportunity here to integrate into the culture, and into the community, and into the language, most importantly, to be able to then turn all of that into a powerful force to make the community better and to give back in whatever capacity and whatever way they can. And that is something he said he wanted to highlight, that this help means the world for them. The help that we have given them at RWN for them has facilitated that possibility in their lives. And so with that, he expressed once again appreciation and gratitude by saying thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'm so glad to be here, surrounded by nice and incredible individuals around the society. Finding these kind of individuals in the U.S. is not easy thing. Reaching out to you guys requires lots of appointments. And I'm glad I don't need that anymore. I can text Miss Bradford, I can reach out Miss Jane, and I have some sort of communications and also some sort of things with like being friends and friendships around the individuals who are like very senior than me. And that's incredibly impressive to me. That means a lot. I mean, the love and joy that they got, the refugees, Jamal Khurshid has already explained that to you. I will come back and just tell you a little bit about the journey where the refugee thing starts from. Why we are refugee? Why these words, the world gave us this name? Why we are refugee here? Why we left our hometown, where our grandparents, our parents, our whole life were there. So leaving that kind of hometown is really hard, and even harder to take the decision, pack up your whole life, and move into a country that you know but hardly know anyone in there. So, well, long story short, I will just give you some highlights of what I know that to mention here. So, I mean, I born 1993, Medal of War in Afghanistan. From there, I was just 3-year-old when Taliban has took over in the Afghanistan for the first time. I mean, it didn't affect me when they stopped girls from going to schools, not letting them buy from education. So what I did, I didn't affected by the first government, but of course my siblings are. So I always experienced that frustration in my siblings' eyes. I used to have a big family where most of them makes my sisters. Like my siblings, the most part is like my sisters, because I have 2 brothers only. And I believe my parents were trying to get the 3rd boy, but it didn't happen. So it was like girls after girls, girls after girls, and that's how it took place. So, for the first time when I was the age to turn to go to school, by that time, luckily, in 2001, the Taliban regime was debated. So, I went to school, I started my education, and I had a very nice journey. I went to school, I went to university, but between all that, after graduating from the high school, I preferred to go to work as well. Even though I was still in process of getting my bachelor's, but I was trying to be in that phase and get that experience of working as well with it. And of course, being married after my high school and first year of college. So, by that time, I was about to graduate from the university. My major was business administration, and I was at the last semester of that. I was working on my final project to defense that and actually get my bachelor's degree. But there was a day, we never had a complete security and the feeling that we are in peace. We were always in war, of course. There was ups and downs always happening around. But we had a slight, or maybe if we can say a lightly democracy implementation around the Kabuls or maybe the provinces that they were close to the capital. So, 15th August 2021, a day darker than the darkest nights, and terrifying, like the most terrifying nightmare. So that happened to us, and the Kabul was surrounded by the Taliban once again. For us, the worst part was thinking about unclear future and imagining ourselves once again in that situation. So what we did by that time, we just locked ourselves in our houses and just waiting for something, for a miracle to happen, or maybe that can change our lives. But nothing happened. 10 days passed. We had some problems around too. But after 10 days, we decided to flee the country. But how? One of my CEOs in a company where I used to work was American. And because of our close working relationship, and we were like having those meetings and like appointments with the US Embassy, transporting their corps engineers. So by the time we were like having that relationship, he used to call me his little sister because he was like very senior. So he reached out to me within that 10 days, and he said, "Send me your passport, Sister John. I want to file a B2 case for you." Of course, the priority 2 cases that they were like had that opportunity to come to US. So after we get those documentation, we rushed to the airport. Of course, even like the worst terrifying story that you can never imagine. Through that line, we walked, and we made our life to here. By the time, lots of ups and downs, we reached here. So now what? I decided to come to Hagerstown for my brother. My brother was living here ahead of the time, so I came here for him, and I stayed for 2 months at his house. But of course, that was not the end. It was not that I wanted to. So we decided to move and rent an apartment with the help of my brother. When we moved in there, after 6 months long process of moving up to US, it took us 6 months to be like once again by our own under a roof. My husband, my 3 kids. So now that we had some urgent help available for us in order to continue our life, but it wasn't like enough. And of course, I wasn't someone who was like looking just for food items or like barely just pay the house rent. I was looking for a work opportunity, of course. I was looking to continue my studies. And I was also like interested in preparing myself to be an active and a mom where my kids can be admired by me. They can follow my footprints. We can never expect from our kids to be like very active and very like positive individuals in the society where you are not. So I was trying to start from somewhere, to be honest, just a work opportunity, just a small sunshine. So I started walking, the best part. By the time 6 months, I enough ate, and I was so overweight as well. I'm still, but better than that situation. So I went there and I started walking to just find out. We used to take strollers, a twin stroller, where I can fit like my 4-year-old and of course my newborn, not my 4-year-old, he was 3 at that point. 3 and 1.5, I believe. Or maybe less than 1. My memory is not working right now. I mean, I actually prepared. It will be short, I promise. So, by that time, I was walking at the downtown. Of course, I was looking for a clue where I can find some opportunities to jump in and just use them to change my life. I mean, it is not that easy that we think. But one of the individuals that I had communications for a little bit with them, they guided me to walk into the Trinity Lutheran's church. Of course, their food bank and the clothing hub. But I wasn't looking for food. I said, I'm not hungry and I'm not homeless as well. But I don't know what I'm looking for, but of course, I know that I want to work, or maybe like, my only concern was at that point, I was half year, like close to the 1 year, where I could file my asylum once again. By the time you enter to the US, your P2 or priority to case, I believe cancels, because you are now you're a refugee and you have to take place and file for your asylum. So I decided to mention that to Ms. Bradford. She's not here yet, but I mean, she's an incredible person, and I admire her. She's my American mom. She used to say that. She's an angel, very kind and soft-hearted, but at the same time, she's a hard and strict teacher as well. She used to give me homeworks by the time we were filing asylum, and she will be like giving me the deadlines for that, because I needed that really bad. So I used to do my homework, and I came back to her, and then we would be like processing like that. So she was checking on me, have you done your homework yet? Every night. So from there, I mentioned that I need help with my legal application or asylum application. So they helped me. That I believe that the group of people, that they were also together, and their aim was like to help the society, had take a new direction. Like, instead of helping the society, they can still do it, but that's not something that can make their self like to feel satisfied, I believe. So that's why, like, I am the reason where the Refugee Welcome Network generates. And I'm proud of myself, I believe. So I'm just glad for those individuals. I mean, I had this opportunity, a little bit English skills. I still say lots of like incomplete or maybe like sentences that they doesn't make sense sometimes. But at least I can communicate, and that means a lot. So the families were here recently that none of them can communicate properly with English, and that's a big challenge. They have been helped, transported to work. They have been applied for their like jobs, and that's not like just easy things. The people who are coming here, they don't know how to apply online. They don't have those technology skills. And I'm glad that process is going through this refugee network Welcome Network. So, I mean, they help as much they can, and we appreciate that. The team who are working with us, with refugees, and the team, the population that behind them and supporting them behind the scene. We appreciate each individual who are like part of this church, HARC, hopefully I'm not wrong with that, but it's like Hagerstown Area Religious Council. And of course, the Refugee Welcome Network. So nowadays, any refugee comes from wherever they are, any country that they are welcoming here. There is a group of people that they are just guiding them to there, and then they will be fine. And that's not easy. That's a different phase of humanity. We can never say that we are satisfied being humans until we do something like very humanitarian for our society. Society doesn't mean if I'm American, I should help Americans. And if I'm Afghan, I should help Afghans. But furthermore, like then it's on top of everything to be just human before having a religion, before having another contact with any organization, any country, anything. If you're just human here, that will change the world.
Can we have your country?
At the end, once again, I want to extend my gratitude, my appreciation to each individual who is supporting this Refugee Welcome Network or refugees, anything helps with the refugee situation. And I hope for today, I pray for that really from the deep of my heart, that all the world's country have their own peace and nobody call an individual refugee anymore.
Thank you.
We are tired of being refugees. We wanna go home.
Thank you. Let's have
Thank
a
you.
chance for the questions. If you want to-
Thank you so much, Marole, for that heartfelt, very powerful sharing your story. So, Kathy, come on up here. We're going to have probably another 10 minutes or so.
Just 10 minutes.
And max 10 minutes, promise, Reverend. Any questions that you may have? So, Jane, come on up. We'll have Jane, Kathy, and I on one side. And then, Jamal, can you come up? And Malale, we're going to need you here. Malala, we're going to need you here. Come. They might ask questions, so. Go stand here.
What is
Okay,
it's
all right.
short.
Yes. So, questions?
What kind of help are you asking from the community at this point? What would be most helpful for you?
Money.
So actually, there's multiple needs. Money is always top of mind because rents are expensive and food and all these things, the basics. But we need access to housing. It's sometimes challenging to find housing for families and individuals. We also need more volunteers, allies to come alongside a family and be kind of the go-between between the network of teams and the families, or to be on one of the teams helping. We've got many teams working on very specific things with the work that we're doing. Jobs, any jobs that are available for folks who, some of whom have their work permits and social security cards and such, and just need better jobs than, say, FedEx or Amazon. And then we also have some who might be able to use some side jobs. Maybe they don't have their work permit yet, but they still have a family to feed. So all of these things are needs.
And, sorry, Grace.
To extend that a little further, so yes, money, yes, volunteers, that helps. But what if you don't have time and what if you don't have money to donate? There are a lot of community partners that you heard Malalai talk about and Jamal. They both went to Trinity Lutheran Church's food bank. So volunteer at a food bank, give to a food bank. All of our families use Children in Need. Children in Need is sitting right there. You can donate used clothes to Children in Need. You can volunteer your time at Children in Need. And when we're asking for volunteers, there's some heavy lifting stuff. Yeah, every organization has jobs that are heavy lifting. There's some things like driving somebody to work and going back to your life. So make sure that when you're thinking, how could I help? And think about how you could help in the community as well.
Exactly. So just to wrap that question up, within RWN we have, I want to say, 25 plus members that actively participate in our meetings and are involved. They help at so many different levels. If you have expertise, we've been blessed with, for example, a retired lawyer that helped us tremendously. We've had physicians that helped us with their advice. So if you have certain expertise in your background, you want to contribute, you're welcome. Just get in touch with us, talk to Kathy, myself, or Jane, and we'll make sure we take advantage of however much time you're able to contribute. Yes, Elizabeth.
Question for Jamal. We kind of got him to Brazil, and I'd be interested to know then how did he come here and then here?
Thank you, Elizabeth. ما یک سال قبل وقتی برازیل بودیم حدودا 1 ماه برازیل ماندیم. از برازیل تا مکزیکو سیتی حدودا 2 ماه در راه بودیم. در این 2 ماه شاید 10 روزی از این ما مثلا سوار هواپیما بوده باشیم و یا کشتی و نهایتا 10-15 روز در بس دیگه متوقع از مسیر جنگل و دریا و کوههای بسیار بلند و پیاده روی بسیار وحشتناک. یعنی وقتی شما از برازیل حرکت میکنین نهایتا آمریکا هیچ کس به نیتی از اینکه من زنده برسم نیست. و وقتی شما پیش میایین دیگه امکانی برگشت نیست. شما ناگزیر هستین که تمام خطرات رو بگردن بگیرین اما پیش بیاین. ولی یک چیزی که به ذهن شما را قناعت میده و قدرت رو بیشتری که ما با آمریکا میرسیم. یعنی ذهن از اینکه ما با آمریکا میرسیم تمام خطرات پشت سر متحمل میشه. بعد از اینکه ما وارد نمیخواد کالیفرنیا شدیم تو 1 هفته بعد احساس کردیم که ما هیچ مشکلی ندیدیم. ولی گاهی یادمون که میایه هنوزم همون چی هست؟ همون تکان دهندگی ذهنی.
So right after they arrived in Brazil, after staying there for about 10 days, they decided to take the journey this way. It took them 2 months. 10 of those days, they were in transportation vehicles like planes and cars and those things. The rest were all walking, going through forests, deserts, you name it. And he said the journey was so difficult that whenever you passed a town, a city, or a country, you never looked back. There was no chance of going back. You have to keep going forward. And so the idea that you're finally going to find a home and settle down was what motivated them to keep going. Also, he said he never thought that they would actually make it here alive. And that was a thought that was always with them, that the chances of getting here alive was remote. But there was no other alternative, so you had to keep going. But after they arrived here, he said, and a week passed by and they found themselves in California, said, it was all worth it. And today when he looks back and looks at his children and their future, it's all worth it. He wants to just share a small something.
ما وقتی که به پاناما رسیدیم شما احساس بکنید که نام پاناما را شنیدین که کشور است که نزدیکی ما و شما کمی فاصله تر. اما شما از مسیر عمومی نمیتونین بیاین. از راه جنگل وقتی که شما در ما فورت که بودیم به مکتب اما تدریس میشد که وحشتناکترین جنگل ها و آب و اینا جنگل آمازون است و جنگل های پاناما و دریای آمازون و اینا. اما ما زنده دیدیم که ما اینطور یک مسیر روان هستیم. یک شب بود که داخل جنگل ما ایستاد شده بودیم و میخواستیم استراحت کنیم که یک دفعه خانم ما شکم درد شد. به حد سرش فشار آمد و ایستیم که ما گفتیم اپندیکس است. یعنی یک دکتر همراه ما بود، همسنوی از شما کلانتر همسنوی بزرگوار، وی گفت که نتایج اپندیکس علائم اپندیکس است و احتمال عزیز که اگر معالجه نشه و از بین بروه. یعنی من ذهنم بود که خب عمرش همه قدر بود ما اینو کجا دفن کنیم. اینو واقعیت داشت. هیچ راهی برای ما باز نبود، چون اونجا نه قبرستانی بود، نه قشلاقی بود، نه مردمی بود. و هر حالتش اون مشکل به گردن گرفته و نهایتا تا صبح ما بیدار و وضعیتش بهتر شد، با صبح حرکت کردیم. تجربه تلخ دیگری که بود، ما در مکسیکو سیتی به محض در مکسیکو سیتی رسیدیم. هر دو طفل ما که یکش 2 ساله بود، یکش 4 ماهه، هر دوش در سیستم تنفسیشان نزدیک بود که قطع شود و شیشه‌های از این مثلا شیشه‌های ریه‌اش التهابی شده بود. وقتی که شفاخانه رفتیم 1 ماه اینا در کما بودن. یعنی احتمالی از این بود که ما در مکسیکو سیتی هم هر دو طفل از دست بدیم. با اون طول هم وضعیت نتیجه زندگی ما امروز اینجاست.
He wanted to mention two incidents that just to highlight their experiences. That Panama, we normally see beautiful pictures and beautiful sceneries about Panama. He said in a geography class when he was young, he had studied that some of the most dangerous and scariest jungles and forests are in Panama and in Amazon. He never ever imagined in 3rd grade that one day he would be traveling through those jungles. And he actually experienced them, and he said part of what made the journey so difficult was that because they are traveling not with visas and crossing borders, you can't just go through the regular roads and regular highways and travel, even on foot. You have to take the back roads and the long routes everywhere. And so he mentioned an incident in one of the jungles. He said one night his wife fell sick and she had a stomachache, and there was somebody else traveling with them who had medical background, and he said she absolutely has appendicitis and needs surgery. And so he said it occurred to him for that night that maybe this is where she's destined to die tonight. And so he said he actually looked around for where to bury her, and praying and being hopeful, by morning she recovered and the pain subsided. After that, when they arrived in Mexico City, he said he had a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. Both of them got severe pneumonia, and they were in coma for 1 month. And he didn't expect either one of them to survive. And so again, he had to decide with the inevitability of possibly burying his 2 kids there in Mexico City in a strange land. And so he wanted to share those points as just to highlight when we talk about a refugee, what does it mean, in practice? Powerful. Any other questions?
Our time is running out.
Yes.
Any other question? Our time has run out. Kathy, you have any announcements to make?
Yes, Kathy. So once again, thank you, everyone. I'll hand it to Kathy.
Thank you so much.
I think another big round of applause for Malomai and for Jonathan. Thank you for being here and sharing your stories.